Good morning, everyone. This video is for November 9th and 10th. So today was pretty relaxed. Just have some announcements for you. We're going to switch gears and start talking about DNA replication. So I have an ed puzzle and a game for you. I don't have many announcements, just that if you need any help, I do like to remind you guys that Fridays are a great day for you to either come into school so we can work one-on-one or send me a message if you'd like to meet up on Zoom sometime. But the sooner you get help, the better. All right, so we're starting with the ed puzzle. We will go to Canvas. As usual, we'll go to Modules. We scroll all the way down to week 13. There it is, DNA replication ed puzzle. So you've done ed puzzles before. Make sure to click on your correct class link. Just helps with organizing and grading, putting grades in, making it easier. So if you are in R5, please make sure to click the R5 link. And you all have done ed puzzles before. When you click the link, you'll get a video. This video is about 8 minutes long, has some questions. And I do take whatever grade you get on this ed puzzle, so I urge you to take your time. Before moving on to the DNA replication game, I just wanted to go over some important points to note from the ed puzzle. So we just came from protein synthesis, and as you remember, protein synthesis, the whole goal of that process is to make proteins. The whole goal of DNA replication is to go from one DNA strand to multiple, to make copies, exact copies of this DNA strand. In the video, it talked about how we call this model a semi-conservative model. When you think of conservative, it's kind of like sticking with the old or original. So here we have one full DNA strand. In DNA replication, it'll split apart. Those two strands will separate. Each strand becomes a template for the other strand. At the end of this process, you'll end up with two full DNA molecules, each with one of the original strands and one whole brand new strand. That's why it's called semi-conservative. Half of it is an old strand and half of it is a brand new strand. Lastly, you did learn about all these different types of enzymes that help with this process. Helicase unzipping it, polymerase putting nucleotides on, ligase gluing them together. Really what I want you to get out of this is how we make that new strand. And it's by using our base pair rules. Remember, apples in a tree, cars in a garage. So to make these new strands, you literally just have to add the complementary base to every base that we see exposed here. So as you see, all the T's go to A's go to T's, G's goes to C's. So of course, here when we get to the C, we know that a G will have to be added on. And for this T, we know an A will be added on, and so on and so forth. Next, we're going to go ahead and do the DNA replication game. So when you're on Canvas, under Modules again, it's going to be in the same spot as the ed puzzle, just right underneath, DNA replication game. Essentially, you'll go to this link, do the game, and then answer these questions. It is set up so that you can do the entire game and then answer the questions, so you don't have to kind of go back and forth, which is nice. So you go to this link. This might be what pops up. It looks kind of blank, doesn't work. You'll have to go over here to Adobe Flash Player and click Allow. Did you know that most living organisms have the same sort of genetic material in their cells? The remarkable and very long molecule deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA. The shape of the DNA molecule resembles a spiral staircase. Do you know what it's usually called? Of course you do. It is a double helix. The molecule has two intertwining strands made of sugar and phosphate with links across the middle. Do you know what these rungs are made of? Of course you do. They are base pairs made of 4 different DNA bases represented by the letters A, T, G, and C. Do you know how the rungs are put together? Again, of course you do. The letters on the DNA molecule always come in pairs. A always pairs with T, and G always pairs with C. Your job is to make an exact copies of a DNA molecule from 3 random organisms and find out which organisms they are. All right, so we'll do one as practice. I want to point out that these are the 3 organisms. Here's your score, and here's some information like the number of chromosomes, base pairs, and genes found in that specific organism. So we're going to click here to start. See this DNA molecule split in half. Now you're going to make a copy on each strand. What I did learn from students is this does go pretty fast, and on laptops it is a little bit difficult. So I would suggest trying to focus your energy on copying one strand of DNA instead of just both. Your score might not be the greatest, but I'm not giving you a grade based off your score. So once you're here, these strands will come up. You just want to match the correct bases. And again, just focus on that one strand. Get that practice in. I'll be right back when it's all done. You are now to decide which organism this genetic material belongs to. Take a look among the few organisms whose DNA has been determined. So essentially what will happen here is you have these 9 organisms, plants, animals, bacteria, and when you click on the picture, it will give you a little snippet about each one. Essentially, you want to match the information given here to this information that you gathered to the right while you were replicating the DNA. Don't feel like you have to read every single word in each of these paragraphs. The easiest thing to do is just to skim and try to find these keywords, things like chromosomes, bases, genes. So this one I'm familiar with because I know of an organism that has 46 chromosomes. That would be humans. So I'm going to check here. So while I skim through here, I notice it says there are more than 3 billion base pairs. So 3,000 in millions is 3 billion. And I know that humans have 46 chromosomes, so I think it's a human. Once you are sure that you have the right organism, click this DNA belongs to this organism. And I was right. Yes. And then you'll do it all again with organism 2 and 3, and then come back to answer the questions here. When you are done, you will click the Submit Assignment button. A text box will pop up, and in this text box, you'll answer these 5 questions. The first 3 are just asking what the organisms that you got were. So for number 1, I would say human being. For me, it does randomize it, so yours will be different. For number 4, describe the process of DNA replication. So what did you have to do to make a copy of that DNA molecule? And then, of course, what was your score at the end of the game? And that's it. You write those 5 questions or the 5 answers to those questions down here, click Submit, and you are done.